the question and where the question's coming from, that they didn't care where you got the phone number anymore?
Right. And they were, I think, honestly, they were really happy to have gotten a phone call from were they considered as a third world country at the time. I know this happens.
Sure.
Even before the Olympics, I knew a lot of my friends who weren't even aware of my country at all and who didn't know where it was, even though they had a globe in front of them. So for, I guess, Joe Satriani and Scott Not Ian and Richie Kotzen, it was like a special moment for them.
Yeah.
And that's how we got these phone interviews done anyhow. Yeah. So I was the phone interview interpreter for Hot Music Magazine back at the time.
Okay.
Doing my part-time job.
Hot Music Magazine, was that a domestic magazine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it was a domestic magazine.
And so they would call you.
Right. And they would have a section for these phone interviews. So, and like, there were many ways of how they would get these phone numbers. And one of those ways was to actually just call up the Guitar Center in Hollywood and ask the guy. Yeah. And they would know.
So did they teach you that, or?
No. Well, I got a hint, though.
You taught them. I mean,
right.
Who taught who?
It was like vice versa.
Okay.
I got a hint. So I found out later on that Sung Woo-jin, who was like the head of the writing department of Hot Music at the time, he would get artist phone numbers from record companies here in Korea, like BMG Korea or EMI, and they would have all these international record companies having their branch companies here in Seoul. That was one way which is really good, more adequate. But if you really wanted to find something out, you would call up anywhere. And I think Guitar Center Hollywood was one of those places at the time, right?
Okay.
So I got lucky. It was like, I think about an artist every 6 months. But I still kept trying.
Yeah. And so you did a lot of radio shows, which also got you the opportunity to meet a lot of artists that way.
Right. I got this translating job for the nightly disc show, 밤의 disc show, on this program. And one of the first artists was, the first artist that I translated for on live radio was Jeremy Jordan, who sung the main title for the original soundtrack for Beverly Hills 90210. And he was at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 at the time while he was in Korea. So I felt really lucky. And the second artist that I translated for was Mr. Big. When they were touring the whole wide world, and Korea was the last country. And when they first released their second album, which had included Daddy, Brother, Lover, and the Little Boy, and To Be With You, of course, which later became really popular, almost #1 spot, I think, at the time. And when they reached Korea, it was after their fame with To Be With You. So obviously when they arrived here, anywhere they went, like Itaewon or Nagwon-sanga, which is where they have all these music instruments, where I took Paul Gilbert out on, everybody would know.
People went crazy.
Right. They would all be fans, and you would find crowds of people in front of their hotels. And I felt very lucky to have met these people, even before I even became famous as a guitar player for Next. So I felt really lucky. And after Mr. Big, I met Bon Jovi. I met Dream Theater, Metallica, Megadeth, Steve Vai.
Got to meet them all,
Loudness, Vinnie Moore, who is a fantastic guitar player. And even last year, I mean, it just went on and on. Guthrie Govan, who is like the guitar icon of today, he's coming back, I think, about now. So, yeah.
To Korea?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, Guthrie Govan and like all these great musicians. I mean, it's going on.
Great opportunity.
Right.
Yeah. I hear that you consider your English-speaking ability to be a real merit for your guitar playing, too.
Honestly, yes.
Yeah.
Because the electric guitar trends have been changing quite often in the recent couple of decades, if you ask me. And we have these new trends coming up like, just from nowhere, almost every day. Guess what? It takes about 17 years to be Korean language translated into Korean. So if you've been practicing the guitar and getting all your information in the Korean language, hey, honestly, you've been getting information that was more than past, a couple of decades or so.
Right.
So I think English was just checking out the guitar magazine, the guitar player magazine, the guitar related magazine from the States.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of the big merits for me.
Being able to...
Right. Get the information on, let's say, The Drill by Eddie Van Halen when he started the song on Pound Cake. Hey, how would people ever guess that he was trying to get notations from how many RPMs that he would get from the drill? And it would actually have these melodies going on. Like, it's a blues line. But Eddie Van Halen was trying to do it with the drill and how fast the motor was going. So
with a real drill.
Right.
Okay.
A Makita.
I was like, is that a move, a drill or something?
No. Oh, actual electric drill.
He had an electric drill.
Right.
Really?
And he would try to get notes to see, when you hold a drill, the round per minute goes up, drastically. So he would try to improvise and try to express notes that way.
From the speed of the drill.
Right.
Because the speed of the drill would change.
Right. And in Korea at the time, nobody would get this information at that moment.
Right.
But if you just check out the Guitar Player magazine, it's there.
Yeah.
Through his interviews. So, hey, I wanted to try. So I got a Makita.
Yeah.
Electric drill. And I would try to practice it and did it. And the Korean fans were like, oh, what's that?
What's
so such thing was happening for me for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
So
you could stay a little bit ahead of the trend.
Right.
So you would highly recommend to all of our viewers, keep up that English study, huh?
No matter what you do.
Yeah.
Yes. Keep up with your English studies. And you know what I tell my students today? Is that by 2020, if you can't practice English, you cannot earn any money at all as a professional musician because of today's media